Hi there, it's Bruce Wallace from Dundee and Victoria Chess Club in Bonnie, Scotland. Now I've got a lot to show you in this game, so we're going to have to move rather quickly. I'm white here. My grading at the moment is 13.29, and it's the second round match in the club championship. I've won the first match against a much stronger opponent, Gordon Robertson, and now face another tough opponent, my good friend Frank Stevenson, who's rated 1606, and Frank's beat me on very many occasions. I've only ever beaten him once, and another draw. But let's go on with the game. I kick off with e4. Frank plays the Sicilian, c5, knight f3, d6, and go for the open Sicilian here. d4, pawn takes, knight f6, attacking the e-pawn, knight c3 defending, and then a6, which is the telltale sign that Frank may be going into a Najdorf. Bishop e3, and here Frank plays queen c7, which seems to violate move order to some extent. I was expecting here e5, or instead e6, and this type of pawn structure is known as the Scheveningen, and I play this myself as black, so I know it fairly well, and this is the structure which does in fact come about after queen c7. I play bishop e2, then e6, and we have this pawn structure. Queen d2, b5, threatening to push to b4, but nudging the knight on c3 and winning the e-pawn, so I play a3 to prevent it. And then bishop e7, and here I can see that black's developing plan is to play the bishop to b7, which would hit the e-pawn twice with the bishop and with the knight on f6. So I'd have to defend it with a move like f3, which I think is quite passive because it blocks in the bishop temporarily. So instead I decide on a different move. I decide on g4, which is an attacking move. Now black could have continued here, bishop b7, and then f3, knight c6, knight takes, bishop takes, and it's a very even position, and indeed it's what I expected. But after g4, black just castled, and this confirmed my plan of attack. I'm going to launch a pawn storm on the king side, beginning with the move g5, knight f to d7, and then h4, planning to ram these pawns into the castle position. Another good move there would have been f4. However, after knight f to d7, h4, then bishop b7, h5, and these pawns are beginning to look dangerous. Knight e5, then g6. I'm sacrificing a pawn here to open lines. H takes, knight g6, then I play bishop h5, and black has to be careful here. If he plays say a random move, knight f to d7, bishop takes, pawn takes, knight takes e6, forking queen and rook. So he moves the knight to e5 to prevent this. I just move my bishop back, then he develops the knight to d7, f4 attacking the knight, knight to c4, I chop it, queen takes, and then queen h2, and I'm immediately threatening mate on h7 and h8, so black has to move to prevent that, and recommended here in fact is f5, but it's big advantage to white as the queen comes in, as the queen comes in with check, king f7, and now I play rook g1. Now a better move here actually was pawn takes, sacrificing the exchange temporarily here, bishop takes rook, f takes check, and pawn can't be taken because it's supported by the knight, king e8, pawn takes with check, king takes, queen h3, king e8, queen takes h1, and white is up a piece, attacking the rook in the corner, preparing to castle, and should have a decisive advantage. But I didn't consider that line. I played after king f7, rook g1, because I'm threatening to take the g-pawn with check, and Frank plays bishop f6, which is quite a calm move given the circumstances. He now attacks my knight twice with the bishop and queen, and I only defend it with the bishop, and so I castle and the piece is defended. So a defending and a developing move at the same time there. Rook h8, and because I've moved my rook to g1, I can play queen g6 check, king e7, pawn takes now, so I win my material back, rook h6, and then queen g3, and now knight c5, and now pawn takes, and I'm actually up material now. Now here, black plays rook a to h8, which is in fact a mistake, but just say here that he played knight e4, looking for counterplay. It allows the move knight f5 check, and if we have, for example, the move king e6, it's knight takes, bishop takes, and then the really strong move rook takes d6 check, and if the king takes the knight, it's mate, queen g4 mate. So that was an interesting line, and there were other lines that were also decisive for white. However, after f takes e6, black actually plays rook a to h8, and it's a mistake because it allows me to come in with a knight f5 check. King takes the pawn, and I went just for the exchange of material here, winning the exchange with a massive advantage. But again, the same thing of rook takes d6 check. If king takes, it's queen g4 mate. So the pawn can't be taken, but black might have stepped into that trap after queen takes h6, rook takes d6 check. If it's for example king f7, we now in fact have a queen sacrifice. Queen takes g7 check, and if the bishop takes, it's rook takes check. If king goes to f8, it's rook d8 mate, and after we go to back to rook takes g7, if it's king e8, rook takes e7. These rooks are coordinating beautifully with the knights. King f8 and rook d8 mate. So a more energetic finish, and nicer actually for black. However, after this move, I merely took the rook and g-took, and then I played the move queen g6, which completely destroys any black counterplay because the bishop is pinned, the king is stuck in the middle of the board, and white's advantage here is killing. Black plays knight e4, and we see the niceness of the move queen g6 here, pinning the bishop, because it allows me to play the nice killing move here, rook d4, attacking the queen, and it drops at least a piece for black. And in desperation, black now takes the knight, dropping the queen, rook takes queen, knight check, king b1, knight takes, and rook c7, and now black has two pieces on pre, the bishop on b7 and knight on g8, plays the bishop to f3, and it's f5 check, king e5, bishop takes g1, and at this point black resigned, and I thought that was a very good attacking game, although I have to say I did miss some killing continuations. I think the ending was good enough. So hope you enjoyed that. That puts me on 2 out of 2 in the club championship, so I think the news will be spreading amongst club members that Bruce Wallace is no pushover. See you soon.